is really loud, and I don't notice while editing, I am A, very sorry, and B, I am working on a solution to that phone problem. And I will probably just use my old phone for the recording and then match it while editing with the new camera footage, if that makes sense. Sense. Also, I hope that my whispering is loud enough. Again, I can't hear it. So, also, another thing, I'm not wearing any makeup, please be nice. I'm so sorry that there weren't many videos lately. I was really busy and somebody moved in atop of me, in the flat atop of me, and yeah, it was just constantly really loud, of course, because I get it, you have to drill a lot and stuff like that, but yeah, couldn't really find any time to film, and it's really quiet right now in my apartment, and I wanted to use that time, but I really didn't feel like putting on any makeup, so yeah, excuse that. I think that is it. And now, sit back, and relax. I read a total of 9 books in January, which is a crazy amount of books to read in a month, in my opinion. I never read that much, and I just want to put that out there real quick so that nobody's comparing themselves to me in that sense. I personally think that reading 9 books is a whole lot, so I was sick for the entirety of January and was home and in bed for the entire month and couldn't even learn for uni, study or anything. I was feeling really, really sick. I was having a fever and stuff like that, and so that's kind of why I read that much. And if I go to uni or have work or any social obligations within a month, I'm never reading 9 books. I just want to put that out there because I know that many people compare themselves to the quote-unquote book account of other people, and I don't want anyone to feel bad about, I don't know, how much they read. I would say that normally I read maybe 1 book per month, and right now I'm in a really good reading phase, and hopefully I can continue with reading much. But my goal is not to read as many books as possible this year. It is to read consistently, because I always struggle with consistency, and that's the number one thing that I want to improve this year. Not really how many books I read, it's more about consistently reading every month slash I want to read every day basically. And of course I'm not gonna beat myself up over not reading one a day where I don't have the time or whatever, but generally I want to use my time for reading rather than scrolling on social media, stuff like that. So that is kind of the goal. But yeah, now let's start with the first book. And I was rereading the lovely Harry Potter series. And I ended last year with reading the first 4 books in November and December, and then started this year with reading the biggest book in the series, which is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, I have these really, really pretty editions. I love these. I think they're so cute. They're the newer standard editions. this was like the first book series that I was ever obsessed with. And to me, this is so like tied together with me being a reader. Like this series, the Harry Potter series, is to me so nostalgic and so much like part of what made me want to read in the first place. And to think that newer readers don't read these at all is like crazy to me. Like not in a you should read these kind of way, more in a wow, yeah, like a new generation of readers, you know what I mean? Anyways, The Order of the Phoenix. I think this is not popular opinion, but this was always my favorite Harry Potter book. I am one of the only people I feel like who actually love that Harry is really moody and like traumatized in this book. I thought that it made so much sense for the storyline. And I always liked when characters were portrayed honestly and how they might actually act in real life, even if it is not beneficial to their likability. I always loved that. So yeah, this is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And of course I gave it 5 stars. I will never give a Harry Potter book anything but 5 stars because, yeah, nostalgia, I love the series. But yeah, I reread the entire book series and I was so enchanted again, and just I love this world. I don't know, I feel like it's super immersive, and yeah, again, I love the colors and the theastral. I hope that's how you pronounce it in English. And yeah, this book has 800 pages. Moving on to the next, to nobody's surprise, the next book that I read is the 6th Harry Potter book. I actually didn't read them in this order, but I'm showing them as like 5, 6, 7. I actually read 3 other books between. No, I think I read the 6th after the 5th, and then the 7th I read 3 other books in between because my boyfriend was reading the Harry Potter books for the first time, and he wasn't finished with the 7th when I got to it, so I had to wait a bit. I love sticky book tapping and gripping. But yeah, this used to be my least favorite Harry Potter. I don't know why, but it was. And I actually enjoyed this immensely while rereading. I feel like I appreciate it more now than I did before. And I feel like I was unnecessarily like harsh on it. I don't even know what I disliked about it. I always remembered it as like a filler book, and it didn't feel like that at all while rereading. I actually had such a fun time with this book, so yeah. Also, I think that the love stories are hilarious. Like, they're so cute, they're so teenagey, they're so funny. I don't know, I was obsessed. So yeah, of course that was also a 5-star. Next we got the 7th and last Harry Potter book. I also kind of like this cover. I don't love the Harry, like the way Harry is drawn on this one, but I really love the purple, and I do think that like everything else on the cover is gorgeous. I loved the last one. I think that not the epilogue, but like the chapter before last real chapter in the book, which is called The Flaw in the Plan, is one of the most amazing conclusions to a series. It leaves you, like, I feel like it's such a satisfying ending. Like, it's great in my opinion. I really, really love the way that I don't know, the last scene plays out between Harry and Voldemort, and I think that they absolutely butchered it in the movies. Unpopular opinion, I don't think the movies are horrible. I think they're totally fine, and I think they did well turning these books into adaptations, like on-screen adaptations, but they absolutely destroyed the ending. Like, the ending, the last chapter, my brother and I used to be absolutely obsessed with the ending and talk about it every dinner, every breakfast. Like, we were obsessed as kids with the ending scene. We loved it so much. The way everything that was laid out from book 1 to book 7 is put into one chapter and like explained, and the way Harry is explained, I love that chapter so much. Yeah. By the way, I'm not I hope that doesn't qualify as a spoiler, but at the same time, I don't think anyone who's into books has not at least watched the movies. But yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into detail about the last scene, don't worry. If you're interested, you gotta read it. But yeah, also of course a 5-star. Next up, I read Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Sorcerns by Margaret Rogerson. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And the cover is gorgeous. It is really, really reflective, so pretty. And on the back it has this 3D printed eye. It looks really cool. This book is about a girl named, oh god, Elizabeth. Her name was Elizabeth. I'm filming this at the end of February. Elizabeth, and she works in a medieval fantasy world. It takes place in a medieval fantasy world setting, and Margaret works at a library. She's an apprentice at a library, and in this world, libraries are a bit more hardcore, meaning that in these libraries, in the great libraries of the kingdom, there are grimoires safely stored there, and these grimoires are full of like knowledge from sorcerers, and the grimoires can kind of think and feel and do things on their own, and they can kind of shapeshift a bit, I guess you could say. And then there's like the normal grimoires, and then there are more dangerous ones. They're classified basically. And the story starts with our main character narrowly escaping and killing one of these grimoires that went bad, because if they go bad, they become maleficts, I think they're called. And then when that happens, they try to like destroy cities and stuff like that. It's really crazy, but it's a really fun concept. And basically she has to flee because like nobody believes her, and a sorcerer who she thinks like sorcerers are really, really super evil creatures, and like one of the sorcerers comes and takes her with him to kind of like go in front of sorcery court and answer for her crimes or whatever. And it's like a really fun concept. so good. It sounded really, really interesting to me. However, the execution was questionable. It was questionable. I thought that it was kind of very meh. I had many issues. One of the main issues was the world building. Also, our main character is horribly naive and stupid, and she does so many stupid things, and like none of her beliefs are properly explained. So it's just like she hates sorcerers because, and we never get any cool fun library stuff. I think this was my main issue. I thought this was gonna take place in a library, and it does not. She's everywhere but in a library. The ending was very, I don't know, like it existed. It was really long, it was very drawn out, but didn't feel important. The stakes to me never felt high. I had trouble caring for people in this book. Every character felt flat to me, but the whimsical aspects were so fun, and I do think that despite the fact that our main character's like reason to not be head over heels for the love interest at first is like really stupid and like not properly explained, I do think that the love interest, the love story in this is cute. If you don't really care much for world building and you're just looking for a really cute fantasy romance, go for it. It was not really for me. I think I ended up giving it either 2.5 or maybe at most 3 stars, which is not a great rating for me. It wasn't like a terrible book by any means, but it also, I expected a lot more, I guess. Yeah, that was this book. My next book is Dallergut's Dream Department Store by Mieli. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this book has a super pretty cover, like look at it. And it's a magical realism book that falls in the same category as the Y Cafe and the Midnight Library, where it's sort of trying to be a self-help book, I guess, or like not a self-help book, but these are a bunch of very profound and deep thoughts, and I'm putting them in this magical realism form kind of book, if you get what I mean. This book follows Penny, who starts working at the beginning of the book in the Dallergut Dream Department Store in this, I guess you could call it a parallel world, where it's a magical place where in the world Penny lives in, they sell dreams to people from our world, basically. So it's as if there's a second world that is really cute and fun, and there's dreams that are being sold. And the payment is made in emotions, so people don't pay when they buy the product in the store, but they pay afterwards with the emotion they feel while dreaming the dream. And it was a really fun, interesting concept, and honestly, I picked it up because of the cover. I read this together with my best friend, and yeah, this book was really bad. I gave this 1.5 stars, and honestly, I'm rethinking giving it only 1 star now, because before that I think that the main character in Sorcery of Thorns is like naive or stupid. It doesn't reach this level. Penny is literally just there so that the author can constantly describe what's going on, but instead of it being Penny figuring things out or whatever, it's every single scene. And this happens like on every third page in this book, every second page, I'm not kidding you. There's a scene where Penny asks one of the other workers in the Dallergut Dream department store a question, and it's always like the most stupid question, like in your face explanation, like exposition of the world. It's crazy. Like she's asking questions like, I don't know, it's like as the reader you're reading it and you totally get what's going on, but then Penny for some reason asks what's going on and you already know what's going on, so you don't need somebody to like tell you at all because it's not hard to grasp. And it's the most crazy shit. I wish I had an example. Let me look real quick. At one point in this book, this was my last draw in that book, by the way. That was when I was in my head like 1 star. They are explaining that in the Dallergut Dream department store you can sell dreams to people who are then like they're pre-ordering it, and then you give it to people in their family, like they're ordering dreams for somebody else basically that are supposed to be given at another moment in time. So you could, for example, ask for a package, it's called like a dream package or something, and you could ask somebody to give that and that dream to your daughter and your mom and your father in 3 years, basically, something like that. And she's like, she gets that concept because she asked everybody like a million questions that all made her look so stupid. And then she sits with the department store dude with Dallergut, who owns the store. She sits with him for one of those constellations for a dream package, and it's clear, like literally the description of the woman is that she looks faint and sick and like she's dying basically, and that she's like very emotional. And I kid you not, like it's very obvious from the first second that these like kids, these dream packages are meant for people who are dying so that they can give that dream to a loved one after they pass, right? And everybody who has one singular brain cell would get that on the first page that this concept is introduced. Penny doesn't, because she's dumb as bread. You know what? Penny sits with the person who's buying one of those packages and with Dallergut in the room, and this woman is starting to explain like I don't know how to say it, like she's starting to explain what she wants her family to see in like a year or two, and she's literally saying things like yeah, I think that we should wait a bit after, and she doesn't say after her death, but it's so obvious what she's saying, so beyond obvious. And then at the very end, after like 5 pages of this, Penny, the woman leaves, and Penny like looks at Dallergut and she's like, but why would she buy the dream? And he's like, so you realize that this is like different from the others? And she's like, yes. And he's like, very good, Penny, I feel like you're almost there. And then she's like, she gets it, and she's like, is the woman dying? And I kid you not, it took this woman like 15 business days to get to the conclusion. And Dallergut, like the dude from the store, right, her supervisor dude, looks at her, he's like, yeah, Penny, that's right, you're so smart, and like he means it. And he's like, every single time she asks the most horrendously stupid question in this book, somebody is telling her that she's so smart for getting it. It's basically as if, I don't know, I'll just compare it to if I went to an ice cream shop and there was a you're so smart, but at the same time there's like 2 labels and it's pistachio and green lime, and I just made the conclusion, you know, like they're congratulating her for being so fucking stupid, and it's so annoying. And every single character is so weird, every interaction is weird. I don't know if it's due to the translation issues, because this is originally written in Korean, but every character sounds dumb as hell. I hate this book with a passion, and I literally already sold this and I'm giving it away. I'll get it to the post office today because I want nothing to do with this book, okay? Like, I need this to leave my shelf ASAP. I can't have this on my shelf. It is so bad. Like, yeah, I just ranted about this book for 8 minutes, and I feel like that sums up the entirety of the book. Like, please don't waste your money, please don't waste your brain cells. This book, Penny is dumb. Literally nothing happens in this book. This isn't even like the Midnight Library. Nothing happens in this book. The only thing it is like in your face shower thoughts like that she puts in these like stories, and it's supposed to be really deep, but it's not at all deep, because every single person who has thought a thought within the last 10 years of their life has thought this already. I hate this book. It was such a waste of time and money. The next book that I read was The Wizard of Oz by Baum. And I have this extremely gorgeous edition. This is the cloth-bound Puffin Classic Edition, I think it is called. I hope that wasn't too loud. And I think everybody is probably familiar with what is happening in The Wizard of Oz. But in case you are not familiar, in The Wizard of Oz, a girl named Dorothy, a little girl named Dorothy is sent to a different world via a cyclone that takes her and her entire house with her. She ends up in this place called Oz. No, is it called Oz? Am I stupid? Yeah, no, it's called Oz, right? Which is like a kingdom in a different world where there's magic. And she and her little dog, Toto, they are trying to find their way back home. And on their way, they pick up these friends. A lion who is a cowardly lion. A tin man who wants a heart. And a scarecrow, god, I can't pronounce that. A scarecrow, is that right? I don't know, I hope you pronounce it like that. But they pick up a scarecrow that wants a brain, and so they all want different things, and they're hoping that in the Emerald City where they're trying to go to, they will find the Wizard of Oz who can grant them their wishes. So Dorothy wants to go home, and the others want, the lion wants bravery, the tin man wants a heart, and the scarecrow wants a brain. And it's like an adventure story for children. It's a classic. And I only read, as a child, I read a modernized, shortened version. It was one of the first books I ever read in English, and it was like for Germans. Like, it was like really short and really easy language, basically, you know, for learners, for English learners. And I loved that one. And I have to say I prefer it over this one. I think they took out all the weird stuff, and I'm very happy about it, actually. Because there was like a lot of, I don't know, I felt like it didn't read as a consecutive story and more like a lot of individual stories, and you could probably read these as bedtime stories because of that, but as like a one read through, it was not that great. And I just had a lot of issues with the pacing and structure of the book. I felt like there were like 3 different points where I thought, oh, this is the ending, and then it was not the ending, and that was kind of meh. I do think that like I loved the moral of the story. I thought that was great. As like what these characters want and what they get, basically. But there were really weird themes in there. There was a lot of unnecessary brutality that had me like, wow. Especially the Tin Man story is like crazy. And I don't get why it needed to be that way. Also, the language is not like pretty, you know, like it's very I don't know. It's like as if inflation was a language. Sorry. It's not pretty to read. I don't know. Maybe it is because it's for children, but at the same time, I read, like a couple of years ago, I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and that had such beautiful language. So, yeah, I don't think that something needs to be dumbed down for children like that. I just didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. It had its moments, and I did love the overall theme and message in this, but I'm gonna look up the shortened version that I read, and I'm gonna insert it like as a picture. Honestly, just read that one. If you're not really into classics, read that one and save yourself a bit of time and energy and weirdness, because it was quite weird. But yeah, that was The Wizard of Oz, and yeah, the best thing about it was this beautiful edition. The last 3 books that I read were part of a trilogy, and it is the Remnant Chronicles. The Remnant Chronicles. The first one is called The Kiss of Deception. The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. And this book follows a girl named Leah, who is the first daughter in a kingdom where first daughters are very special because they're said to have a magical power. And she begins the story doubting that she even has any power at all, which is really hard because she's not just a first daughter, she's the first daughter of the kingdom. So she's like extra special. And the book starts on her wedding day. She's supposed to be wed to the kingdom of Dallergut for an alliance, and she doesn't want to be part of that. And so she runs away with her mate, Pauline, to go to a small fisher village and live her life as an unknown mate there in a tavern, like a tavern waitress. And the premise of the book is really interesting because it's a romantasy, so there's definitely a lot of romance aspects in this, because the premise of the first book is that 2 men follow her there. One is the king of Dallergut that she left at the altar, who wants to know who this young girl is that defied characters from both perspectives of the King of Dallergut and the Vendon Assassin, and Leah gets to meet both of them at the same time. And they're called Raven Caden, but we don't know who is who because it's never said. Rave's point of view, Caden's point of view. It's said it's like either the assassin or the king, the prince. He's a prince. Sorry, he's a prince, not a king. The prince. And so it's like we know that someone is there to kill her, but we don't know who, you know. And that was really interesting. And I guessed who's who. I was really proud of myself for that. And at the end, something really cool happens. Like, the first half of the book was a bit slow, but the second half was so good. Like, the last 200 pages of this book, I was hooked. I couldn't put this down. I read this in one sitting, like the last 200 pages, in one sitting, and stayed up all night for it because it was so good. Like, that last bit was so action-packed. It was amazingly written. Like, I was drawn in like nothing else, and it was great. I had a really good time reading that one. I overall gave this 4 stars, which was a really good rating considering that the first half is quite slow, but the last half made up for everything. And I was like, I jumped into the second book immediately after. I was like, I need to have answers. I need answers, you know. So yeah. Also, I want to say that I loved the main protagonist, Leah's character development. She develops a lot throughout this book, and it's so rare to see that in YA protagonists, where she like has a really great character development, and it's not dependent upon the 2 men who are in her life, right? Like, it has nothing to do with the romance that she develops and becomes a better version of herself, and I love that. Yeah. So that was The Kiss of Deception. The next book in the series is called The Heart of Betrayal. The Heart of Betrayal. And I really love this cover. I think it looks really stunning. And this book is, I'm not gonna spoiler anything, like I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, don't worry, but I do want to vaguely talk about the second book, because if you're gonna jump into reading the first because I gave such a raving great review, beware, because the second book was an immense disappointment and a huge letdown, and I ended up giving this, I think, 2.5 stars. It did not live up to my expectations, and I felt like Mary Pearson did very cheap writing things in this. At some points, like, I feel like it was both too much and too little, story-wise, plot-wise. I feel like it should have been 2 books instead of 1. Like, there should have been 4 in the series, because it felt like too much, like, change within the society that it plays in was happening for just the span of a couple of weeks. But so it was like very unbelievable and felt ingenuine, but at the same time it also felt really slow and really like, I don't care, you know. I don't know, it's not a good mixture in my opinion. And Leah literally develops backwards. Like, she digresses as a character in this book, which annoyed me so much. But like, she literally becomes a lesser version of what she was at the end of book 1. Again, it's so weird. that she, like, I hate YA characters who are like speaking up and like not letting somebody go all over them or whatever, but it's in a situation where it's like super dangerous for them and it's gonna have really immense repercussions, and it's very obvious that they should just shut the fuck up and play it safe because you're like surrounded by enemies or something like that, you know, and it's like you being bratty is not gonna help you in the situation, and this is not showing that your main character is strong, because sometimes being strong means knowing when to be quiet and knowing when to be manipulative and strategic and have a tactic, and like that sometimes means that you don't just say, well, you shouldn't treat me like this, you know, to your enemy or something like that. It's just, it's so silly and so cringe, and it immediately makes me go, oh, the worst of YA, you know what I mean? I didn't like it. The love interest situation is solved in the most embarrassing way. There's a love triangle in this trilogy, and it's solved basically by making the love interest that the author wants you to pick, well, he's super boring and he does not have his own storyline. Basically, he revolves around Leah and he would not exist without Leah. Basically, like, his storylines are super boring because he doesn't get any. He's just there to be her love interest, and I hate that kind of character. I hate it when women are reduced to love interests, but I also hate when men are, because it's about the writing being cheap, you know. But he's doing everything right and he loves her unconditionally and is like the best person, blah blah blah. Like, I don't care about him, I don't believe their chemistry, and I don't give a but I'm really supposed to, and I can feel that she really wants me to like him. And then the much superior, much more interesting love interest is written as like having a bunch of really shitty traits in this book to kind of make him less appealing, I guess, and basically he's not the same person as in book 1. And that kind of writing always has me like, yeah, 2 stars, I don't care about you anymore. Like, yeah, I don't foresee myself reading something by Mary E. Pearson again, unfortunately. Then, in the third and final book in the trilogy, which is called The Beauty of Darkness, The Beauty of Darkness, The Beauty of Darkness, Darkness, Darkness. This is really thick, and yeah, this was fine, this was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was like, it was an okay conclusion to something I didn't have many hopes for anymore, because it was like, after the second book, I had no expectations anymore. I just wanted to get done with it, essentially. The ending was super stupid, like the big war or whatever, it was super stupid. Like, this woman, it felt like she can't write battle scenes, so she just tried to like avoid it as much as possible or something. It was not done well. Leah's love interest finally got a storyline, which made me happy. This is why I gave it 3 instead of 2 stars, because at least she did something with that, because I couldn't have gone on for 700 pages with this man doing nothing but being Leah's lover, because he was so boring and he desperately needed his own storyline. So I was happy with that. I foresaw many of the plot twists and things that happened, but they weren't. Sometimes that can be a good thing, because it means that the writer is consistent with what they're doing, and I felt that way with this book. It was solid. It wasn't good, it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it was solid. Yeah, and I felt very satisfied being through with it. Being done basically with this trilogy. I would not really recommend reading it unless you are a bit younger or like super duper in love with romantasy. Then maybe it might be your kind of thing. I found the love story to be because it was too much. The books would have been better off without so much love drama. And I always think that it feels really weird to have love drama in the middle of war, and that's what romantasy tends to do. And it's always like, your people are dying, do something, stop thinking about a man/woman. Like, I just find it very annoying and distracting from the storyline. I prefer romance to be a subplot that leaves me craving more, to it being the focus that I just want to get the hell away from me. You know, I always think that being left wanting more is better than being left wanting less. But yeah. I was really happy to be done with this. Anyways, this was the nine books that I read in January. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel